Beware of spoilers, you have been warned. In light of the upcoming 10th anniversary, let's talk about The Sims. Alright, I guess before I break down the millions of dollars worth of packs, I guess I should just discuss the overall base game. There are 3 major parts to this game: the building, the create a sim, and the life simulation. The life sim is what you make it. You get your sims, get a job, raise a family, get into various hobbies, make friends or mortal enemies, long lifespan, short lifespan, so many challenges. This is where the Sims community really comes in. You've got people like James Turner making videos about every life stage challenges and the every occult challenges. Lots of people do the 100 baby challenge. The Sims can be as chill or as chaotic as you make it. Cast requires effort because the randomizer is never it, fam. Cast is fun when you have a bunch of packs. Another shout out to the Sims community. Mods. 90% of the mods that I personally have are cast mods, so if you don't have a lot of packs, those free mods are here to make your Sims look awesome, because base game cast is also not it. Overall, cast exists so I can make my Sims look much cooler than me, and I am jealous every time. Building in The Sims, I mean, what can I say? There are people that play The Sims 4 exclusively for the building. I know there are Sims 3 purists out there, but god, how can you live through that Sims 3 building? I mean, color wheel or not, I don't care. Sims 4 is superior. The best builders are the ones that have the debug menu memorized. I watch people like James Turner and those twins and could never be me. I'm not that creative. I don't have tool mod. I usually just steal lots off the gallery and renovate later. Though I will say the last couple of lots I built from ground zero did not turn out too badly, so I have gotten better, but oof, still not my strong suit. Another huge aspect of The Sims 4 is the plethora of DLC packs. Good or bad, they always seem to divide the community. There are a handful that are just lame money grabbers, but as someone who owns most of the packs, honestly, a lot of them improve the game for me. So let's break those down, shall we? Kits. The most controversial packs. They are $5 and many are so not worth that much. However, I think Simmers have been surprised by the build kits that have just become essential to the game. Book Nook and Greenhouse Haven were every builder's dream. Pastel Pop Kit, Courtyard Oasis, Desert Luxe, Blooming Rooms, Decor to the Max, Castle Estate. Those building kits don't mess around. They are definitely worth the $5. And I also love when kits are used as a collaboration with other artists. This is mostly with the cast kits, I think. These collaborations are also worth the $5. You're not just paying for the kit, you're supporting the artist that helped make it. Now, I can complain about kits all day, but I hate to admit I use all of them very often, so $5 or not, I would say pick and choose based on what you prefer and what they offer, but pretty much everything but Bust the Dust Kit are valid. Stuff packs. I really want to jump out of the gate and say stuff packs are not worth it, but then I look back at what packs are actually there. Spooky stuff, toddler stuff, kid stuff, movie hangout, tiny living, nifty knitting stuff, paranormal stuff. I use all of these all the time. Yo, how is paranormal only a stuff pack though? I know people have been going crazy with the Crystal Creation stuff pack as well. Paranormal is my favorite, with some of my favorite build and cast items, along with the Haunted House gameplay. Toddler and kid stuff are just so essential, and Tiny Living is just a solid pack all around. Game packs. Alright, now we're talking. I was looking at the list. There are not a lot of game packs that I dislike. Outdoor Retreat may be the weakest. I mean, it was the first pack ever, but it introduced vacation lots, which themselves have evolved over time. The build and cast items in Outdoor Retreat are solid, and putting in extravagant lots help make that vacation world worth visiting for sure. Wedding Stories was infamously broken, but weddings were already broken for me, I think because of my laptop that I was using. People complained of bugs, and I was like, bro, that wasn't a bug for you before? Because I was already experiencing some of these issues. So this pack actually fixed weddings for me a little bit, though it's it's still a little broken. Even I don't know. I mean, there have been bug fixes released over time that have made it more playable, but there are still issues. Tartosa is also a beautiful world, and the cast is great, so it balances out either way. Dine Out and Spa Day are okay. I want to say they're weak as well, but then I remember how many spas and restaurants I play with. Dream Home Decorator is a great idea as long as the game works. However, it's the build and cast items for me. I use them all the time. Same for Parenthood.
Oh, Batu! Yeah! Batu! Yeah! Oh, Batu! Yeah! We're definitely doing some Batu stuff. Ah, oh, Batu! Yeah! Batu! Yeah!
Hey, I'm a Star Wars fan, okay? It's kind of cool how the Batu you see in the game is essentially the Batu you see in the Disney parks. And I was just playing with this pack recently. I was going through missions to get my sim in the order and ended up playing through missions much longer than I thought I would. The lightsaber thing is kind of cool, and the build items, bro, Batu items are there when you need them most. Strangerville, the great Stranger Things-esque pack. I actually like it. Actually, I have warmed up to it a lot over the years. You have the option to play through the story and take down the mother, but I decided not to. The possessed Sims are just too funny and too terrifying to me. They're here to stay. Also, if you are wandering around the world, take a break in first person mode. The ambiance of the Strangerville neighborhoods is unsettling. Vampires, werewolves, and wizards, oh my. The Great Occult packs. The werewolf pack is definitely the strongest out of the three. It's been around for a couple of years now, and I'm still astounded at how relevant it still is. Like, how often I use the items from the pack on a daily basis. But vampires and wizards have their highs too. I enjoy playing with all three, and the build items from each pack, bro, literally some of my favorite items in the game. That's how emo I am. Lastly, Jungle Adventure. I feel like this pack has been forgotten, but it shouldn't be. I still play through the actual Jungle Adventure quite often, and I have fun every time. I enjoy treasure hunting. The vacation neighborhoods are so cool. The build items are used literally all the time. It's a solid pack. Expansion packs. $40 each, and controversially so. But honestly, some of them are worth it that much. Starting with Get Famous, everyone's least favorite. I like it. Just replace the ugly lots and move on. The acting career is fun to play, and the fame system is hit or miss, but overall, not that bad. For Rent is honestly my least favorite right now. Tomarang is such an amazing world, but that's all it's got going for me. The rent system was never going to be something I would take advantage of. It came out really buggy anyways, and I just don't play a lot with it. High school and university. Both packs have some of my favorite and most used casts in the game. Build items are also very useful as well. The high school gameplay is what people wanted for the university gameplay. Honestly, I don't really care. I barely play with either anyways. Get to work. Even though the detective career has been broken in my main save for a while now, the scientist and doctor careers are still fun for me to play. Aliens and alien abductions also came with this pack. Aliens bring chaos, and I do enjoy the retail system as well. Get together and growing together. Two really solid packs. Vindenburg is the largest and best world with amazing casts. Growing Together helped introduce infants and comes with community lots. Casts and gameplay from both packs are solid. I use clubs all the time. Definitely pick them up if they're on sale. City Living, the world of apartments and festivals. Another solid pack to get if it's on sale. Build, cast, and gameplay are all equally good. Now, I have not explored Lovestruck as of yet. Since its release, as well as the Riviera kit, I haven't played much. Last time I was on The Sims, I was only just looking around the world and the lots and builds people have made. However, this seems to be a well-received pack, and I look forward to learning more. Now we get to the packs actually worth the $40. Seasons. You need seasons ASAP. Cats and dogs. Get that pack immediately. These two packs are not packs you want. These are packs you need. Get them. Get them now. Island Living. A personal favorite of mine. Honestly, top 3 to this day. The world is amazing. I love the unique beach lots. The build items are great. Cass is great. Sulani is just the place to be. You can help clean the volcano island. You can befriend a dolphin, ride jet skis, save the turtles. I just love everything about this pack. Eco lifestyle. Gameplay, Cass, build items. It's all top tier. Honestly, it surprises me just how much I love this pack, actually. Snowy Escape? Heck yeah! The Japanese aesthetic is unmatched. Each neighborhood comes with something different. The skiing and snowboarding are so much fun, and climbing Mount Komorebi is also always fun, especially if you built at the very top, which I did. Horse Ranch, yeehaw! This Rootin' Tootin' expansion gave us horses and goats, and what more can I ask for? The build items for this pack are also amazing. And did I mention horses? I know people wanted horses with cottage living, but the horses fit with the Midwest aesthetic, so I'm not mad at all. And speaking of cottage living,
Hot diggity dog! This place is magnificent.
best world, solid cast, best build items, chickens, cows, llamas, rabbits. This is it. Peak Sims. It's probably everyone's favorite pack because it's the best pack, objectively. Final thoughts. With all its flaws, my sister and I have currently logged over 2,500 hours in this game since we got it almost 7 years ago. We have all but a few packs and reference the game annoyingly on a daily basis. The obsession started with Dan and Phil and their Dill Halter legacy. I got into the game myself. I'm an avid follower of simmers like James Turner, Deligracy, Lil Simsy, and Karen and Connie. I know the game has its issues. Honestly, I had a lot more issues when I was on a crappier computer, so when I do cross bugs, I never know if it's the sim or just my computer. There hasn't really been anything game breaking for me as of late, so I'm never frustrated and I end up playing for hours at a time. Except gardening. Fix gardening, please. The attempt to continuously encourage inclusivity should also be noted. Gender and dating preferences have been included in updates over the last couple of years. accommodating and supporting the idea of different gender identities and sexualities. Choice of pronouns, hearing aids, and updates to skin and hair details have also been a welcome addition. While there are a lot of American influence, there have also been inspirations drawn from other cultures presented either through simple items or even entire packs. The Sims 4 designers have also collaborated a lot with those in diverse communities to help bring about such content. I enjoy the game. When The Sims 5 comes out, I just don't see myself moving on, just given the amount of time and energy I poured into my 6-year-old save. I love this game. I'm not a fan of every pack, but most packs add so much more to enjoy for building and gameplay, and I'm very attached to several of my Sims and their families. Not to mention, my Sims world is also a safe haven for many fictional characters. I give them a happy ending, especially if their characters didn't get one in their story. Like, I have John Wick living with 7 dogs, and no stupid Russian rich boy is taking them out, you know? So yeah, I play The Sims religiously. So what? Miracle Workers. As a lifelong Potter fan, of course I've been following Daniel Radcliffe's career since the end of the film series, and what a career it's been. If you know, you know. But one of his more iconic ventures included his roles of the comedy series Miracle Workers. Season 1. Season 1 is what the title suggests. We focus on a group of angels trying to create a miracle in order to convince God to not destroy the earth. The story is cute, but this first season truly establishes why the show worked. Daniel Radcliffe, Geraldine Viswanathan, Karen Sony, and Steve Buscemi are the heart and soul of the show and are everything good about every season. Eventually, John Bass is included in this, but he was more of a side character and stands out in later seasons. But yeah, all of my enjoyment of this show is dependent on the interactions of these amazing actors, and that actually, they work together so well. And that continues to be a common trait moving forward. Season 2. The second season establishes what is now an anthology series. Best idea ever. Chauncey was definitely my favorite character this time around. Daniel has such a specific talent for comedy, and I felt this character really showcased that. The costume designers really started going all out on Geraldine's costumes. Like, she always looked good in every scene she's in. The setting of medieval times also fit well with the show's dark comedy style and mixing modern lingo with Shakespearean culture, and it's just so funny to me. It's like that in Leonardo DiCaprio, Romeo and Juliet, but like the opposite. Season 3. Oregon Trail is peak Miracle Workers. I feel like this was the season everyone talked about, and a couple of great memes came from this as well. It's been years, and I still see Daniel's erotic dance swirling around the internet. Again, Geraldine's costuming was on fleek. John Bass really got in full swing with what he could do, and I respect him for always giving 100%. Like, they make him do literally anything. What a sport. Steve and Karen also made me laugh a lot this season. But going back to Daniel, like, he owned this season for sure. He made me laugh hysterically at least every other episode, and the story arc alone is worthy of some giggles. Season 4. To end it off, we have the Terminator Mad Max Apocalypse season. First of all, I cannot believe John Bass wore that costume the whole season. Literally, that's all I can think about when I think about this season. I mean, it was a solid season, but John, buddy. I will say, watching this with my friends, I had one friend say that Daniel's and Geraldine's characters got closer and closer every season. As in season 1, they were friends. Season 2, they were low-key crushing on each other. Season 3, their characters ended up dating. And season 4, their characters are just straight up married. I actually absolutely love that observation. And Daniel and Geraldine really do have great chemistry. I'd love to see them work together again someday. Overall, this is a solid comedy anthology series. It's definitely a particular sense of humor and a pacing that not everyone would enjoy. It is a show I love to watch with my friends, and I'm glad we did. I guess I'd say Oregon Trail is my favorite, but honestly, any scene with the main cast was peak content. Like, I cannot stress enough how well the cast worked together. Good casting matters, and this is why the show lasted 4 seasons. 3 musicals I think you should watch. Moulin Rouge. Moulin Rouge has been quite the cult classic amongst theater nerds, especially since Broadway, filled with a plethora of iconic songs playing homage to many musicians of decades past, all used in unison with amazing set design and costume design. Moulin Rouge is a visual and audible feast. I'm always on the fence when it comes to musicals. I think they're referred to as jukebox musicals. They only use covers instead of original music. But I think for Moulin Rouge, it works fine, for sure. Obviously, the Tango de Roxanne is objectively the best segment. I love the cover and use of Queen's Show Must Go On, and basically any song between Santine and Christian are really good. Ewan McGregor and Nicole Kidman are the leads of this tragic love story. Between the editing and the acting, a lot of this film feels really absurd and cartoonish, usually in an entertaining way, but don't let that fool you because this movie gets really deep, really sad, really quickly. It's a tragic love story that does not have a happy ending. The Broadway adaptation made its way to the stage about 5 years ago now. Aaron Tveit owned the role as Christian. Hearing his rendition of the Roxanne song gives me shivers. Yet another tragic love story of sorts, Rent. The film adaptation graciously saw the return of most of the original Broadway cast with the exception of 2 characters. No offense to Daphne Rubin Vega, but I actually preferred Rosario Dawson's voice with Mimi anyways. But yeah, welcome to Rent, the musical where everyone has AIDS. This musical brings an interesting but much needed perspective on people with AIDS. I know at the time of the original Broadway, the stigma against those with HIV was much worse than it is nowadays, not to mention how bad the stigma was during the major outbreak in the 80s, especially against the gay community. Healthcare has come a long way. Like, there have been approximately, as of right now, 4 people that have been cleared of HIV completely. So we may not be too long away from that number going from 4 to 4 digits or more. Who knows? But despite prolonged life due to advanced treatment, I still think there is such a large shadow of death hovering over patients with HIV. Like, HIV is a death sentence, much more so back in the 80s and 90s. But Rent is not about that shadow of death. Rent is about the glimmering light at the end of the tunnel. The character Angel is literally the heart and soul of what this whole musical is about. Sure, they die and it was heartbreaking, but Angel lived every moment to the fullest until their final days. Angel was surrounded by friends, the man they loved, and was fondly remembered as their friends tried to carry on their memory. Rent was an absolute Broadway phenomenon. You're not a real theater nerd unless you get emotional hearing Seasons of Love. And the way this Broadway launched the Broadway Cares charity, which aims to raise funds for AIDS research, get that 4 to 4 digits, like I said. But the music itself speaks for itself. The rock musical goes hard, and you have the talents of Idina Menzel and Adam Pascal who really nail the vocals here. Tracy Thomas also owned it in Seasons of Love. Overall, such a talented cast, perfecting each performance. Rent is an amazing musical about love and life, and continues to be such a celebration to all theater nerds to this day. Victoria. Julie Andrews is a lifelong hero of mine. I, like so many others, grew up knowing her from Mary Poppins, Sound of Music, and Princess Diaries. I've expanded my knowledge of her career in recent years, and that includes watching and listening to Camelot, My Fair Lady, and this film, Victoria. When I first saw the musical number Les Jazz Hot, I literally cried. I spent my whole life watching her, but seeing her perform something that wasn't only new to me at the time, but also very different from what I knew her for, this was an emotional experience for me. She was almost 50 when she did this movie and was in her 60s by the time she performed the Broadway adaptation of this movie in the 90s. It's just so impressive how timeless she was even back then and how talented and dedicated she was to the performing arts. This is a huge recommendation for any Julie fan out there. As we all know, a surgery gone wrong resulted her in losing her angelic voice forever. Something that I didn't know until recently is that the surgery took place right after her Broadway run in Victor Victoria. The songs from this movie were probably the last songs she ever performed. Just a little something to appreciate when watching. The film is very slow pacing and dragged out a little too long sometimes. Several scenes could have been cut to keep a nice flow with the story. That's probably my only criticism. Of course, Julie Andrews was great and Robert Preston was excellent as Toddy. The final number was very fun and amusing. In fact, all the musical numbers were fun and well done. Definitely a must for musical theater nerds. Victor Victoria was made in 1982. In the last 40 years since its release, the LGBTQ+ community has achieved much, at least in the US, but also around the world in general. But even now, discrimination is still an obstacle, and there are plenty of people who refuse to accept anyone that's gay or otherwise. If that's how it is now, imagine how it was 40 years ago. For a movie about cross-dressing gay lovers and gender equality, it was a huge win and stepping stone for Hollywood at the time. There were a handful of other movies that brought these topics to mainstream, like Tootsie. The early 80s was a huge breakthrough for LGBT in the industry, and now seeing a gay couple in a movie or show is pretty much normalized in the 21st century, even if it's still met with controversy. I'm just going to end this review here with a quote from Victor that really meant a lot to me to hear.
Your problem, Mr. Marchand, is that you're preoccupied with stereotypes. I think it's as simple as you're one kind of man, I'm another.
Star of the Week, Alan Tudyk. Alan Tudyk was born and raised in Texas. Fairly normal life near Dallas before studying drama in college. He actually ended up in Juilliard but dropped out and never earned a degree. He made his film debut in 1997 and had minor roles in films like in Patch Adams, starring Robin Williams, and 28 Days, starring Sandra Bullock. Some other films he was in during this early on in his career included Dodgeball, A Knight's Tale, I, Robot, Wonder Boys, and Death at a Funeral. He also appeared in a few episodes of Joss Whedon's Dollhouse. The number one thing everyone should know about Alan Tudyk is that he's a phenomenal voice actor. He's been in Astro Boy projects, Transformers movies, a bunch of Ice Age projects, shows like American Dad, Good Vibes, Robot Chicken, and Star vs. Forces of Evil, a bunch of random DC and Marvel projects as random or additional voices, and several random video games as additional voices or minor characters. He was also K2SO in Rogue One, and also appeared in a couple of other Star Wars video games and animations. He's also become a bit of a Disney legend as well. He's been in like every animated movie ever in the last 10 years. Wish, Strange World, Zootopia, Frozen, The New Aladdin, Monsters at Work, Wreck-It Ralph and Ralph Breaks the Internet, Encanto, Big Hero 6, Raya, Moana. What has he played, you may ask? Well, he has voiced characters, but half of these titles he's literally just been paid a bunch of money to make animal noises, and I respect that. But yeah, King Candy, Duke of Weselton,
It's Weaselton.
Valentino, Cray, he's been around. Some projects he's been a part of lately includes Power Inside, Newsreaders, The Trick, Tucker and Dale, Deadpool 2, and Injustice Among Us. He was in many episodes of Doom Patrol. He did that Con Man series with like a lot of his friends. He guest starred on The Rookie a couple times for his best friend Nathan Fillion, and he's gotten pretty popular through his latest hit show Resident Alien.
I'm a leaf on the wind.
Did I jump scare you? Sorry, not sorry. But you cannot tell me you love Alan Rickman if that line does not give you an emotional breakdown. Alan Tudyk portrayed Wash in the cancelled too soon show Firefly, as well as the film Serenity. Definitely his most defining and iconic character from his entire career. It's also when he met his boyfriend Nathan Fillion, a marriage that has lasted decades at this point. Thank you for coming to my Alan Tudyk awareness presentation. Please pay your respects to this iconic legend of the entertainment industry.
That's it for this week. Be sure to follow this podcast and please follow my Twitter and blog at Hollis Films to follow my journey experiencing the entertainment industry's greatest stories. And let me know what you've been fangirling over this week. Thank you for joining me, and I'll talk to you again next week.